Hey everyone, this is Jonathan, aka Cradiac. So I've seen a lot of challenges popping up with artists drawing pictures and doing them in a 10-second version, doing one in a minute, 10 minutes, maybe sometimes an hour. And it looked like it was kind of interesting. I wanted to go ahead and try it, so that's what this video is. I decided to draw Ganondorf from the Twilight Princess. I just thought that this was a cool picture and a character that had a lot of detail to him. So this is the first one is the 10-second version. And yeah, 10 seconds goes by really quick, so I didn't really have a whole lot of time to draw, and yeah, the timer ran out really quick, so I just threw something together. It didn't turn out very well. The next one was a minute. This one was a little bit better, but a minute still is, not very much time, and obviously you know that going in, but until you're actually doing it, you don't realize, I think, how quickly a minute goes. So and of course I had the picture in front of me to use as reference for this picture, so I was using that. Spent a little bit more time on this. I feel like with any given picture, especially I generally draw people faces. That's usually what I draw, and it seems like there's usually 2 or 3 kind of key features that make a person look like that person, as opposed to just another person that maybe has the same hairstyle or something like that. So I try to kind of key in on what those things are. For this particular picture, I kind of felt like it was the nose, the mouth, and the eyes. And maybe that's the same for everybody. That might just be generic, but if I couldn't get at least the nose and the eyes right, and that kind of sinister smile, I felt like I wasn't going to be able to get it. So this was my 1 minute version. You can see I didn't even have time to do the hair or the ears or anything like that. So the 10-minute one, this one was a little bit better. I mean, that should go without saying, I suppose, but I had a little bit more time on this one to make it look somewhat decent, and started off with the eyes. Again, really wanted to try to capture that the slim profile of the eyes to really give him that sinister look. He's got that really broad, defined nose, the really pointy nose, kind of. It's kind of one of the characteristics you think of when you see Ganondorf. Like I think of that old Ocarina of Time picture of Ganondorf where he's got that super long nose that just pokes out. So tried to nail that, and you can see there I had a little more time this time to do some of the wrinkles around the eyes. And he's got really defined cheekbones in this picture, and I wanted to try to capture that as well. It was kind of difficult. I found out real quick that I didn't pick a very easy picture to do it with. I could have gone with a picture that had a lot more easily defined shapes and things. This one, there's a lot of shadows, and it's a very dark picture. A lot of the details are kind of obscured, which made it really challenging, to be able to recreate some of those things. So I didn't really think about that when I picked the picture. I just thought it looked cool. I was like, hey, let's draw this one. I wanted to draw one that I hadn't really seen a whole lot of people draw. I feel like a lot of people draw Zelda and Link, maybe not as many with Ganondorf. So I definitely did a better job on this one, getting that really long kind of half smile that he's got going on. Got the pointy nose in there, his broad chin, and he's kind of got that goatee. Really like a scruffy, almost Irish looking kind of red beard along the side, the sideburns. So I was able to get a lot more of that detail, get a little bit of the hair drawn in. At this point, I've only got a couple minutes left, so I'm just trying to polish off a few of the little details. Didn't really have time to do any of the shading for the most part. Just wanted to go through and darken some of those lines to really make the eyes and the nose pop. And just enough time to kind of finish out those really crazy looking eyebrows that he's got, and then he has that little crown thing on his head that I tried to do, but that was all I had time for. Certainly a lot better than the other ones. And then I wasn't sure if I was even going to go with a 1-hour one, but after seeing how those went, I was like, I've got to give this a better shot. So I decided to do the hour one. I do want to apologize on this. I had to pause the video for a moment to go check on something, and I forgot to pause the timer. So the timer and the drawing are going to be unsynced just a little bit towards the end. So if there's a little bit of time left on the clock whenever I stop drawing, that's why. I didn't have the, I didn't think of having a timer visible in the actual video, which is what I probably should have done, but I just added it after the fact. So in drawing this one, I really wanted to try, well, for one, I wanted to make it bigger. The first ones that I made were really small in comparison to the page. I wanted this one for it to kind of fill the whole page. And as you can see here, you can probably already tell, I was having a really hard time getting the proportions correct on the face. I had the eyes way too small just a minute ago, and the nose and the mouth were okay, but I kept on making the nose, it wasn't quite centered with the face, so the nose and the eyes were not aligned properly, and I had a hard time getting the spacing between the eyes and the nose and the mouth correct. So I really spent, I mean, I'm already 20 minutes in here and haven't really gotten that far. At this point I was thinking, man, maybe I should have maybe I shouldn't have picked this picture. I was kind of afraid that I would get through my hour-long challenge and it would look like garbage. But I decided to keep on going with it, and I'm almost halfway through here now. I've got it sped up quite a bit so the video doesn't take forever. It's kind of going to be a long video as it is. But finally did get to where I was a little bit happier with the way that the eyes were looking. At least the spacing was a bit better there. And the way that I draw, a lot of people draw kind of a skeleton first, like a real basic skeleton, and then kind of go from there. And as you can see, I'm still erasing the eyes over halfway through, and I haven't even gotten the eyes figured out yet. A lot of people kind of draw a skeleton. I do that sometimes, but I've never really done that much. Usually I just start drawing a particular feature, whether it's the nose, the eyes, whatever I decide to start on, and then I just try to line everything up based on that. You know, I kind of guesstimate and say, okay, the nose is about an inch or inch and a half from the eyes, and about midline here from the pupil, and I kind of go from there. It's probably not a very technically proficient way to do it. That's just kind of the way that I've usually always done it, and it can be difficult sometimes when you're doing it that way to get all the proportions right, because you're really just doing it by eye and kind of guessing. If you draw kind of a skeleton wireframe, it can be a little easier to line everything up. At least I think so. I think that's why people do it. But by this point, I'm more than 3/4 of the way in, but finally got the face looking where I was pretty satisfied with it. He's kind of resting his chin on his hand there. I didn't really get much of a chance to work on the hand that much, so it didn't look as much like a hand as I wanted it to. But even in the original picture, it didn't really look that much like it. Of course, now I've got less than 10 minutes left, so now I'm just trying to finish out the details. I didn't really get a chance to finish the crown, so it just looks like he's got a headpiece on his hair. But I just wanted to at least finish the top of his head so it looked like a complete picture, and then finally went through and did some shading and stuff at the very, very end with some paper. And overall, I was pretty happy with the way that it looked. Wish I would have had a little more time to finish the head, but overall, pretty pleased with it. I mean, I typically spend 2 to 3 hours on a serious picture, so I had about 1/3 of that amount of time, so I thought it turned out pretty well. Definitely a fun challenge, and I'm definitely going to be doing it again with some other pictures. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.